everyone. So, just to know, how many people here publish an open source project? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, I see some hands. I see. Okay, cool. So this talk is for all the people that publish their open source project and they're like, okay, so I publish it, but no one is using it. No one's coming. No one's checking it out. But it's so great. Why no one is coming? So this talk is for you, for all the people that it's happened to them, and also the people that don't want it will happen to them. So, what will we cover in this talk? We will cover best practices to make sure that people will actually use your open source project. So, small disclaimer, unicorns exist. And maybe you can write an amazing open source project and it will become very popular and everyone will use it and you don't need to do anything. That can happen, I'm sure about it. But 99% of the cases, it won't happen. You need to do some elbow grease and some work to make it happen. So this is what we're going to talk about, how to do it right. What we'll not cover is how to manage open source community. This is a problem that you're going to have only if you follow this presentation. And also advanced marketing techniques. So it's a DevOps audience. I know it's not marketing. And mini carrots. They are amazing, but we're not going to cover it today, okay? So the agenda, we'll talk about the why, what, how, and again, how to market, like I said. But I don't want to jump ahead. Excuse me about that. And let me introduce myself. So my name is Eyar. I'm co-founder, and I'm leading the product at Eyar. I'm also leading GitHub community group here in Israel, which is the biggest in the world. We're super proud of it. So everyone are more than welcome to join us. We have meetups that's going every month or so, and we always welcome new members to our community. So at Eyar, like I said, I'm leading the product, but I also have some experience with open source project. The first one was random GIF action, which actually generate a random GIF into pull request. Apparently, it's not that popular. I don't know why. It got only 0 stars. Another project that I had was Jira Backup, which got more popularity over time. 23 stars, it's fine. And then I worked on the tree, which got 3,000 stars when I wrote this presentation. But actually, today we have more than 5,000 after I actually try some of the best practices that I'm going to show you today. So stay tuned about how to do it. And what we do at Eyar. So at Eyar, it's an open source tool for developers. We're helping them prevent Kubernetes misconfigurations by actually have a CLI tool that is scanning the manifest file and every code change that is happening. And by putting it inside the workflow, inside your CI, CD, GitHooks, or whatever, it will make sure that all the policies that are defined by your team, DevOps, SRE, or whatever we want to call them today, I don't follow the names, are actually, all the developers are following those policies. So, like I said, I'm coming from a product background. And in product, everyone knows that the first thing that you learn is to ask why. So why do I do it? Why do I want to have an open source project? So I found 3 main reasons. One, you want to build your own brand. Because let's face it, if you have Kafka and in your resume and you are the maintainer of Kafka, yeah, it's really nice. It's your business card, it's your resume. I'm sure that you find your next job for sure. Maybe it's your business. So the tree is an open source project, but it's also the business. It's where I'm working. So it's important to make sure that it's popular. And maybe there's a personal passion. Maybe it's a pain that's actually so burned that you want to solve it. But then you don't really care if it's popular or not, because you're solving it only because it's so major for you. But if other people use it, it's a great ego boost. So think about it. So I talked about stars, but I know there are a lot of other success factors. How many pull requests, how many issues, how many watchers, what is the activity, let's commit, size, code coverage, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you're right. There are so many factors that can tell you if your open source project is a success or not. But I read a study They asked 1,000 developers, how do you measure success of open source project before you try them? Surprisingly, the answer is by the amount of stars. So it's the first impression. And then they asked them, are you actually checking the number of stars before you decide to contribute? And the answer is, duh, yes, like more than 75%. Because think about it, no one really wants to contribute code to a project with 0 or 1 stars. You want to contribute code to a project with 1,000 or 5,000 stars. So I looked at the stats, and apparently 96 repositories in all over GitHub have less than 10 stars. So if you wonder how many repositories in GitHub, 30 million. 30 million repositories, only 96%, 96% have less than 10. So if you have open source product and you have more than 10 stars, you are in a great condition. Okay, so we understand enough why you want to do it. Let's get started. The what? So like a startup, you want to explain to yourself really simple what you're going to do or what you're going to solve. It's really, really critical at this point. And now we need to go, again, like a startup, and do research. Maybe there are other open source projects that are doing the same. You're probably going to find someone else that already did it, and it's fine. Don't be scared. Don't say like, oh, wow, now I'm not going to waste my time on that. It's totally fine. It's just important to know if something like that exists. Maybe it's doing it better than the way that you plan to do it. And then you just need to open a pull request if it's missing one functionality or one feature that you want. And that's all. You don't need to go through the whole hassle of building it from scratch. But it's important to understand that. Okay, so now let's talk about how actually to do it. Remember the 80-20 rule. Again, like a startup, you don't want to build a spaceship to the stars. You want to build bicycles that will take you from point A to point B. So you start with the MVP. You want to make sure that what you explained to yourself in the previous slide is actually what you're going to build, but in MVP, lean and mean way. But something that you can't skip and you do need to put the effort, you want to make sure that it's easy as possible to install and try it. Do the extra effort. This is actually the 100%. It's not 80-20. To make sure that everyone can use it really, really easy. Less critical. Amazing code and code coverage. So you probably think to yourself, no, but I have to make sure that it looks amazing and I have all the right classes and I have a perfect CI/CD pipeline and I don't know, I have code coverage, 100% code coverage and all those stuff because it's going to be out there and everyone's going to watch it. The answer is no. Just like a startup, you want to run fast, okay? So it's really, really, really important that you don't waste your time on that. If the project will be popular, the community will help you. It will tell you that you are doing a great job, and only then it's the right time to actually put the effort into and develop those kind of stuff. So prerequisites when you start a project, it's have the right license. I'm not going to talk about how to choose a license. It's another topic. It's another presentation. But basically, like rule of thumb, MIT license, it's what works for everyone. Contributing guideline. It's really, really important when someone actually wants to think about using the project, or contributing code. You want to know what are the rules to do that. So it's really important to write a document, put it inside a repository that will explain to everyone how to do it. Next. Good first issue label. So I was surprised by the impact of that. So inside your issues, you can open different issues inside your GitHub project, and you can put different labels. Apparently, people want to contribute code, but they don't know how to get started. They don't know which issues they need to choose. So you can put the label, good first issue, and first-time contributors, so people that want to help you with your project, we know that this is the right place for them to start. README. The README file, it's so important. I can't emphasize how much important it is, and I have images to show you what I mean. So think about a coffee. Where are you going to buy your coffee? Let's say here you have the best coffee, right? It's amazing coffee, but you're so scared to actually go inside. So the README is the same. It's the front of your application. It's what will make people to decide if they want to try it, if they want to see if the coffee is actually good. And here there's a use case. So I'm going to show you a README file from an open source project that I really like, and I'm going to point on the really good stuff that they're doing there. First thing, you want to have a cover image. So Litchi is a really, really nice project. The thing that they are doing is that they are checking links inside documents to make sure that all the links are actually live and you don't have dead links inside the README files and stuff like that. But they have a really nice logo. So I know it sounds funny, but actually, apparently, according to studies, this really affects people if they are going to use the project note, because this shows the level of maturity. So worst case, ask your friend to do something like that, or I don't know, use Fiverr or whatever, put the $5 in to make sure that you have a nice logo. It's not that expensive, it's not that hard to actually do it. Next thing is badges. So just like we have those badges to know who you are, the same with your project, people look at that to know the level of maturity, if it's something that they should actually try it or not. Explain really, really simple what the project is doing. So we talked about it. This is the right place to put it. 2 sentences explaining exactly what this project is doing. If you have external documentation, it's really important to put it right on the top. Next thing, visuals. So you can put GIFs, images, whatever you want. It's really important because when people coming to the project, they like skimming it for 5 seconds when they decide if they want to use it and if they want to try it. So put visuals, don't overcomplicate it. The next thing, so you remember that we talked about make it easy to install and to use? That's the place. Show it to everyone that it's only one line of command to actually try your project or to install it. This way they'll think to themselves, okay, I don't need to put 20 minutes into actually understand how this project is going to help me. I can do it out of the box, 2 minutes between breaks, between meetups or whatever, and try it. The next thing. So you remember that we talked about how to do it. So you want to make sure that if there's a similar project that already exists, it's fine because maybe you can do it better. So I think this is a really nice way that they decided to show there are other projects that are doing the same thing that we are doing, but this is why we are better. So if you can see, those are actually features, and those are so-called open source competitors, and it's actually listing, it's a table that actually listing what all the other projects are doing, and which features are actually supported in those other projects and which are not. I think this is a really nice way to explain why this project exists. So I really like it. But again, there are other ways to show it. This is only one example. So the next thing that we talked about is explain what you can do with the project itself, documentation, yeah. And that was the coding part. Now let's move to the interesting part, how to market. So do you remember the 80-20 rule? I think that doing the code is the 80 and this is the 20, but this is actually going to take 80% of the effort. This is going to be the hard part, apparently. So good news. You don't need to think outside of the box. You need to publish it where you find other cool projects. So think about yourself. When did you find the last cool open source project that you used? So apparently you can use it. You can find it in Hacker News, Stackshare, Reddit, newsletter, whatever, all over the places. Like you can put a post on Hacker News to promote your open source. You can put it on Twitter to promote your open source. By the way, there's a bonus. If you connect your open source to something that's actually happening, let's say that you have something that's preventing, I don't know, misconfiguration in the infrastructure world, and Facebook is going down, and you have something that's solving the same problem. So this is the right time to start marketing it. The next place that you want to publish it is in context, in the right places, in forums, and so on. So this is one example. So someone asked in the Atlassian forum, hey, how can I actually back up my Jira? And do you remember the second open source that I told you that I already created? The one that is a Jira backup. So this was a great place for me to tell him, hey, it's open source that I built and you can use exactly for that. And guess what? He's actually a user of this repository. He also contributes code. Another example, so kubeval is something for checking schema validation for Kubernetes, and it's have a competitor, which is called kubeconfirm. And someone asked, does kubeval support CRDs? And the author of kubeconfirm told him, no, but I have another open source project that I created that support it, so check it out. Again, it's all legit, it's fine. This is what's great about the open source community. Awesome list. Raise your hand. How many people are familiar with Awesome List? Wow, okay, not a lot of people, amazing. So you have Awesome List for Kubernetes. It's basically okay, for those who are not familiar with that, it's a curated list of resources for a specific topic. So we have one for Node.js, for macOS, for machine learning, for static code analysis, and the funny part, you actually have an Awesome List for other Awesome Lists. Can you guess what are those numbers? Stars, yeah, in thousands. So it's 12,000, 43,000. So it's pretty amazing. 175,000. It's like enormous. It's amazing to how many stars they are getting. But you can open a pull request and you can add your project to those lists, and all the people that are watchers or checking those lists will also see your project. So it's really good resource. The next thing, it's apparently you have Google Analytics inside GitHub. So you need to work on the feedback loop, and you need to check all those activities that we talked about and to see which one of them actually created more traffic into your website. So if you will see that Facebook is creating more traffic to your website, this is the right place for you to promote your project. Or let's say you have Product Hunt and other places. So it's a mini Google Analytics. It's inside the settings of your project. Only you as a maintainer of the repository can see it. And another thing, and this is this is a kind of a hack, because apparently you can go into the GitHub trending repositories, and only by being on the GitHub trending repository, you are getting so many stars. But the funny part is that in order to get into the GitHub trending repositories, you need to have a lot of stars. So you need to, inside a window of 24 hours, you need to get a lot of stars, and this is how you can go into this list. And there's like people and bots and whatever that only waiting for repositories to get on this list and just to start them. I don't know, something like that. But it's giving a huge boost of your stars. So I'm not going to explain how exactly you can try to get into this list. If someone wants to ask me, they can ask after this presentation. So let's summarize it. You need to explain to yourself why you're doing it. What is your motivation? You need to write lean and mean code, just like a startup, but it has to be community friendly. The README file have to be awesome. And don't forget to spread the word. So now it's time to talk about the bunny ears. Yeah, I know it's looked like a fake of Liran that was before me, though it's fine. Apparently, great minds think alike. So, Liran, sorry for stealing the swag. But if you will go, the reason that I have it is because I have a repository. It's called Pink Bunny Ears. And inside this repository, you find this slide. So if you want to watch it again, if you want to see the links, everything will be inside this repository. Right now, it's only 1 star. I hope that after this talk, it will have more than 10. So if you like it, put a star. And that's it. Thank you.